Good morning, everyone. Today we will study liver function test. Before studying liver function test, let us revise. Let us revise jaundice because jaundice is always asked. Jaundice is always asked in your exam, in physiology also, in pathology, pathology, right? In PBQ and the SAQ question. So basically, jaundice. We have already said that in the previous class, we have already said that jaundice refers to the yellow appearance of skin, sclera, and mucous membrane resulting from increased bilirubin concentration. And before studying jaundice, you should know how bilirubin is metabolized or how bilirubin is produced. We have already said that bilirubin is produced from RBC breakdown, and when RBC breakdown occur, then bilirubin is formed, and this bilirubin is called free bilirubin or unconjugated bilirubin. This unconjugated bilirubin is carried by the albumin and it carried to the liver cells. The liver cells take bilirubin, that is unconjugated bilirubin, and it will conjugate it. And after conjugated bilirubin, this is poured into the bile canaliculi. And this conjugated bilirubin enter into the duodenum, and in the duodenum, this conjugated bilirubin get converted into urobilinogen and stercobilinogen, and few of the bilirubin get reabsorbed into the blood, and 5% of it is excreted in the urine, and most of the urobilinogen is re-excreted by the liver, and it flows back into the intestine. In this way, we have studied the regulation or circulation of the bilirubin. And you should also know the normal bilirubin concentration. Normal bilirubin concentration in the blood or serum bilirubin is 0.5 mg per deciliter, or in range we can say that 0.3 to 1 mg per deciliter. This serum bilirubin, it consists of unconjugated bilirubin as well as conjugated bilirubin. We have also said that unconjugated bilirubin is not water soluble, so it is not excreted in the urine. Unconjugated bilirubin is not water soluble or insoluble in water, so it is not excreted in the urine. To excrete the bilirubin, it must be water soluble. So water soluble bilirubin is the conjugated bilirubin. So function of liver is it will excrete the bilirubin by conjugating it. Liver cells, it will conjugate it, and it will pour the secretion into the bile canaliculi. From bile canaliculi, ultimately it is poured into the small intestine, that is in the duodenum. So jaundice can be clinically detected when bilirubin exceeds 2 mg per deciliter. So now when bilirubin can be detected, if the bilirubin concentration is 2 mg per greater than 2 mg per deciliter. So basically there are three types of jaundice. Hemolytic jaundice, hepatocellular jaundice, and obstructive jaundice. In previous class we have already, just I am summarizing it. There are three types of jaundice: hemolytic jaundice, hepatocellular jaundice, and obstructive jaundice. In hemolytic jaundice, when RBC becomes senile, then in the spleen it is destroyed. And when RBC is destroyed, RBC is broken down, then hemoglobin is exposed. Hemoglobin is made up of two parts, heme plus globin. Globin is amino acid pool, and it goes into the amino acid pool. And heme part is made up of iron plus protoporphyrin ring. Protoporphyrin ring, it is converted into biliverdin into bilirubin, and this bilirubin is the unconjugated bilirubin, and it is carried by albumin to the hepatocytes, and hepatocytes, it will take unconjugated bilirubin and conjugate it, and it is poured into the bile canaliculi. In this way, hemolytic jaundice occurs. In hemolytic jaundice, there are excessive number. In hemolytic jaundice, there are more concentration of unconjugated bilirubin in the serum or in the blood. Again, in hemolytic jaundice, due to excessive breakdown of RBC, there is more production of unconjugated bilirubin, and in the blood there is more unconjugated bilirubin. And in hemolytic jaundice, liver is functioning well, so liver will liver will conjugate maximally with its capacity to conjugate all the bilirubin into conjugated bilirubin. Again, in hemolytic jaundice, liver is fine, so liver will try to conjugate maximum unconjugated bilirubin, or liver will try to conjugate free bilirubin into conjugated bilirubin. So there are more production of conjugated bilirubin, and there is more production of starcobilinogen, more production of urobilinogen. Again, in hemolytic jaundice, there is excessive unconjugated bilirubin. So this unconjugated bilirubin cannot be excreted in the urine, but the liver cell is okay. So liver cell will conjugate maximum with its capacity. Liver cell will conjugate with its maximum capacity to conjugate all the bilirubin, almost all the bilirubin into conjugated bilirubin. When there is more conjugated bilirubin, then there will be more urobilinogen and more starcobilinogen. So urine color will be dark, stool color will be dark. Let's come to the hepatocellular jaundice. Here in hepatocellular jaundice, hepatic cells is damaged. Hepatic cell is damaged due to hepatitis or the cirrhosis of liver. So few cells are alive, and hepatic cells is insufficient. Hepatic cell is insufficient to conjugate all the bilirubin. Few bilirubin is conjugated, and this conjugated bilirubin is again backflow into the blood. So in hepatocellular jaundice, in the blood there is both conjugated bilirubin as well as unconjugated bilirubin. Again, I am repeating it. In hepatocellular jaundice, due to damage of the liver cells, due to damage of the hepatic cell, and few amount of bilirubin get conjugated. And due to inflammation of the liver, bile canaliculi get obstructed. So conjugated bilirubin cannot be transported. Conjugated bilirubin cannot be transported into the bile canaliculi, or few conjugated bilirubin can be transported into the bile canaliculi, and ultimately it is drained into the duodenum. And this conjugated bilirubin may backflow into the blood. In hepatocellular jaundice, this conjugated bilirubin may backflow into the blood, and few amount of conjugated bilirubin is transported into the bile canaliculi. So in the hepatocellular jaundice, in the blood there is conjugated bilirubin as well as unconjugated bilirubin. In the hemolytic jaundice, in the blood there is only unconjugated bilirubin, but in the hepatocellular jaundice, in the blood there is both conjugated bilirubin as well as unconjugated bilirubin. Now let's see in the obstructive jaundice. In obstructive jaundice, this is due to obstruction of bile flow in the bile duct. This is due to obstruction of bile flow in the bile duct. This is due to maybe the stone may obstruct the bile duct. So this will obstruct the bile flow in the duodenum, and this leads to obstructive jaundice or post-hepatic jaundice. This leads to obstructive jaundice or post-hepatic jaundice. Post-hepatic means outside the liver. Now in the obstructive jaundice, what happens that bile cannot flow into the duodenum. Bile cannot flow into the duodenum due to obstruction. So liver is okay. Now liver is okay, but there is obstruction of bile flow. So liver will conjugate maximum bilirubin. Liver will conjugate maximum bilirubin, but conjugated bilirubin cannot reach into the small intestine, that is in the duodenum. So this conjugated bilirubin is backflow into the blood. So in obstructive jaundice, there are more number of conjugated bilirubin. In obstructive jaundice, there are more number of conjugated bilirubin. Again, just revising it. In hemolytic jaundice, in blood there is unconjugated bilirubin. In hemolytic jaundice, in blood there is unconjugated bilirubin. Whereas in the hepatocellular jaundice, in the blood there are both there are both conjugated as well as unconjugated bilirubin. In obstructive jaundice, in the blood, there are conjugated bilirubin. There are conjugated bilirubin because all the conjugated bilirubin get backflow into the blood, because due to obstruction, this conjugated bilirubin cannot reach into the duodenum. Again, in obstructive jaundice, in the blood, there is conjugated bilirubin. In hepatocellular jaundice, there are both conjugated as well as unconjugated bilirubin. In hemolytic jaundice, there in the blood there is unconjugated bilirubin. Now with this concept, just answer this type of question. In hemolytic jaundice, fecal starcobilinogen is increased. Fecal starcobilinogen is increased means in hemolytic jaundice, liver function is okay, liver is okay, so it will conjugate maximum bilirubin. So more amount of conjugated bilirubin, more amount of starcobilinogen, more amount of urobilinogen. So fecal starcobilinogen increase in hemolytic jaundice. Urinary urobilinogen is increased in hemolytic jaundice. Urinary bilirubin is absent. In the urine, bilirubin cannot be seen. Because we have already said that unconjugated bilirubin cannot pass. Unconjugated bilirubin cannot filter in the kidney because of large size. Because this unconjugated bilirubin is attached with the albumin. So urinary bilirubin is absent in the hemolytic jaundice. Again, urinary bilirubin is absent in the hemolytic jaundice because in the blood there are more number of unconjugated bilirubin, and unconjugated bilirubin is not water soluble. For excretion of bilirubin, it must be water soluble. And Van den Berg test. This is the important test. To detect. The type of bilirubin present in the blood. Van den Berg test is a test that will detect a type of bilirubin, that is conjugated bilirubin or unconjugated bilirubin present in the blood. So in the hemolytic jaundice, Van den Berg test is indirect positive. In the hemolytic jaundice, Van den Berg test is indirect positive. This indirect positive means what? Means that when diazo reagent is mixed up with the unconjugated bilirubin, then it does not give the color. But when alcohol is added to it, it gives the color. This is indirect positive. Whereas direct positive is when conjugated bilirubin, that is water soluble bilirubin. When conjugated bilirubin, that is water soluble bilirubin, is mixed up with the diazo reagent, then it gives immediately color. Within 30 seconds, reddish violet color, direct positive. And this Van den Berg test, that is conjugated bilirubin, gives the direct positive. And in the obstructive jaundice, in the blood, there are more number of conjugated bilirubin. So it gives direct Van den Berg test positive. But in the hepatic jaundice or hepatocellular jaundice, there are both conjugated as well as unconjugated bilirubin. So it gives biphasic test. And liver function test. In hemolytic jaundice, liver function is normal. Hepatic jaundice, it is impaired. But in the obstructive jaundice, it may be impaired. Now let's see again. Fecal starcobilinogen in hepatic jaundice, it may be decreased because in hepatic jaundice, hepatic cell itself is damaged. So less amount of conjugated bilirubin, less amount of urobilinogen, and urinary bilirubin can be seen in the hepatic jaundice because this urinary bilirubin, that is conjugated bilirubin, is backflow into the blood and it may get filtered into the kidney. So in the urine, it can be seen. In the urine, bilirubin can be seen in the hepatic jaundice as well as in the obstructive jaundice. And Van den Berg test, I have already said, in hemolytic jaundice, it is indirect positive. Hepatic, it is biphasic, whereas in obstructive, it is direct positive. Now, liver function test. Liver function test is the investigation to assess capacity of the liver to carry out its function. It is the investigation to assess the capacity of the liver to carry out its function. So liver function test helps in assessing the extent of functional damage to the liver. And by doing the liver function test, we can conclude. Or we can say that what this liver function test tells you, the extent of damage to the liver. How extent liver is damaged, or diagnosing the cause of hepatic insufficiency, assessing the progress or regress of the disease. By doing liver function test, we can know. By doing the liver function test, we can know the progress or regress of the disease. Again, liver function test. Why we will do liver function test? So liver function test, it helps to know that what is the extent of damage to the liver. By doing liver function test, we can know the extent of damage to the liver, and we can diagnose the cause of hepatic insufficiency, and we can also know the progress and regress of the disease. Simply, liver function test is the test. Liver function test is the test. We have already studied the function of the liver. What are the functions of the liver? That functions we will test. If the function of the liver is impaired, then we can know that functioning of the liver is not well. Again, if you know the function of liver, then you can easily test the function of the liver. To test the function of the liver, to test the liver function test, or to do the liver function test, you should know, first of all, you should know the function of the liver. If you know the function of the liver, then you can easily do the liver function test. Again, if you know the function of the liver, you can easily do the liver function test, or it will be easier for you to understand the liver function test. So why we will do liver function test? Liver function test will do because we can know the extent of damage to the liver. How much extent liver is damaged, or we can diagnose the cause of hepatic insufficiency, and we can also know the progress and regress of the disease. Now, the major liver function tests are classified as tests to assess secretory function, tests to assess metabolic function, tests to assess synthesis function, tests to assess detoxifying function, tests to assess hepatic cellular integrity, and 6 is the miscellaneous test. Again, major liver function tests are classified as tests to assess secretory function. We have already studied that function of liver is secretion. What the liver will secrete? Liver will secrete bile. Liver will secrete bile and the bilirubin. Bilirubin is excess amount of bilirubin is excreted from the liver. So we have to test the secretory function of liver. That is, we have to test the bilirubin secretion function test. And in metabolic function, we have said that liver functions metabolic functions in the carbohydrate, protein, and fat. Third, test for synthesis function. What are the things that are synthesized by the liver? Like liver can synthesize albumin, cholesterol, lipids, phospholipid. These things we have to test. We will study it in detail, just summarizing it. To assess the detoxifying function. Liver can detoxify drugs. It will detoxify colored substance, that is dye, and test to assess hepatic cellular integrity. Okay, now let's see one by one. Test to assess secretory function of liver. First of all you should know the normal level of serum bilirubin. Serum bilirubin normal level value, if you know, then you can easily say that there are bilirubin concentration more or less. So total serum bilirubin concentration is 0.3 to 1 mg per deciliter. 0.3 to 1 mg per deciliter. You have to remember this value. Or in Guyton, there is written that total serum bilirubin concentration is 0.5 mg per deciliter or 0.5 mg percent. Total serum bilirubin is 0.5 mg per deciliter, or in the range you can say that 0.3 to 1 mg per deciliter. And this total serum bilirubin consists of conjugated as well as unconjugated bilirubin, and that is normal serum bilirubin concentration is 0.3 to 1 mg per deciliter. And when jaundice can be seen, clinically jaundice can be detected. Clinically, jaundice can be detected when serum bilirubin is more than 2 mg per deciliter. Clinically, jaundice can be detected in the blood or in the serum when serum bilirubin concentration is more than 2 mg per deciliter. But here it is seen that total serum bilirubin concentration or normal concentration is 0.3 to 1 mg%. Conjugated bilirubin is water soluble bilirubin and its concentration is 0.1 to 0.3 mg%, and unconjugated bilirubin, that is not water soluble bilirubin, is 0.2 to 0.7 mg%. Vandenberg test, we have already tested it. Vandenberg test for normal serum, it is negative reaction. In hemolytic jaundice, it is indirect positive. We have already said that, or we have already studied. Hemolytic jaundice, indirect positive reaction. Obstructive jaundice, direct positive reaction. Hepatic jaundice, it is a biphasic reaction. Again, I am telling it. Vandenberg test is a test. Vandenberg test is a test to identify the type of bilirubin. That is, it is present either conjugated bilirubin or unconjugated bilirubin. Conjugated bilirubin is water soluble. So when water soluble bilirubin is mixed up with the diazo reagent, then it gives immediately color. This is direct positive. Or okay, second function is the urine bilirubin and bile salt. Urine bilirubin and bile salt. We have already said that in the urine bilirubin cannot be seen. In the urine bilirubin cannot be seen because the kidney cannot filter the unconjugated bilirubin. So urine in the bilirubin cannot be seen in the urine. Again, bilirubin cannot be seen in the urine. When bilirubin can be seen in the urine, when the bilirubin concentration is more than 2 mg% or 2 gram per deciliter, then only bilirubin can be seen in the urine. Again, I am repeating it. Generally, bilirubin cannot be seen in the urine. Because of unconjugated bilirubin. Because unconjugated bilirubin is not water soluble, so it cannot be seen in the urine. But when this bilirubin can be seen in the urine, this bilirubin can be seen in the urine when the bilirubin concentration or the serum bilirubin concentration is more than 2 mg%, then only it can be seen in the urine. And this urine that is seen in the urine is due to the conjugated bilirubin. Again, third is the urine urobilinogen. In the circulation of bilirubin, in the metabolism of bilirubin, we have said that more amount of conjugated bilirubin, more amount of urobilinogen is formed, more amount of stercobilinogen is formed. And we have said that urobilinogen get reabsorbed into the blood, and 5% of it is excreted in the urine, and most of the urobilinogen is again re-excreted by the liver, and it is again backflow into the small intestine. So urine urobilinogen, if there is liver insufficiency or hepatocellular jaundice, then there will be no urobilinogen. If you find that urine urobilinogen is nil, or less amount, then you can conclude that there is damage in the liver, or there is insufficiency in the liver. Liver function is not well. Again, I am repeating it. Function of liver is to excrete urobilinogen. Urobilinogen which is formed from the conjugated bilirubin, and 5% of the urobilinogen is excreted in the urine by the kidney, and most of the urobilinogen is again re-excreted by the liver into the small intestine. If you find that in the urine there is no urine urobilinogen, if you find that in the urine there is no urobilinogen, then it concludes that there is liver insufficiency, or there is damage to the liver, because liver, it will it will excrete more amount of conjugated bilirubin, and this conjugated bilirubin is converted into urobilinogen. So in the urine, urobilinogen is absent in case of liver insufficiency or damage of the liver. Fecal stercobilinogen. Stercobilin, it gives the color of the stool. If there is more urobilinogen or more stercobilinogen, then it gives dark color to the feces, and it gives dark color to the feces. If there is pale color of the stool, if the color of the stool is pale or the chalky color, if the color of the stool is pale or the chalky color, then you can conclude that there is insufficiency of the liver, or liver function is not well. In the liver insufficiency, fat excretion in feces increases up to 40 to 50% of the total intake, because we have said that for metabolism of fat, or for the degradation of fat, bile salt is required, or bile is required, and bile is produced by the liver. If there is no bile, or if there is no bile salt, because in the composition of bile, we have said that composition of bile is the water, bile salts, bilirubin, cholesterol, fatty acid, sodium, potassium chloride, bicarbonate. So function of the liver is secretion of bile. That is bile salt, and bile salts helps in the absorption and digestion of fat. If there is no bile salt, then fat is not digested. If there is no bile salt, then fat is not digested, and the stool contains the large amount of fat. Called the steatorrhea. Again, function of bile salt. Is the digestion of fat. Digestion and absorption of fat. If there is no bile salt, then the stool contains increased amount of fat. This is called the steatorrhea. So if the stool color is pale or chalky white color, then you can say that the feces contains the more amount of fat. And this is due to the insufficiency of the liver, or this is due to the deficient function of the liver, because liver is not secreting the sufficient amount of bile salt. And function of bile salt is the digestion and absorption of fat. So fat is not digested properly, and feces contains large amount of fat, and this gives the stool color chalky white, or the pale in color. This is called steatorrhea. Now, taste to assess metabolic function of liver. Galactose tolerance test. We have in the metabolic function of liver, previously we have studied the metabolic function is carbohydrate, protein, and fat. So in the metabolic function of liver, galactose tolerance test. Galactose after absorption from the gut gets converted into glycogen in the liver. This galactose is converted into glycogen in the liver, and it is stored there. So in the liver function, if there is liver insufficiency, then its level in the blood rises, because all the galactose is not converted into glycogen. So galactose concentration rises in the blood. In liver, again I'm repeating it. Galactose tolerance test. Galactose after absorption from the gut gets converted into glycogen in the liver, and in the form of glycogen it is stored in the liver. When there is liver insufficiency, then its level in the blood rises. Again, how this test is done? 40 mg, 40 gram of galactose is taken orally, and after half an hour for 2 hours, you'll take the concentration of galactose, and it should goes on decreasing. And but in the liver insufficiency, its level in the blood rises. So to assess the metabolic function of liver, galactose tolerance test. Blood glucose level. Normal fasting blood glucose level is 70 to 90 mg%. normal fasting blood glucose level is 70 to 90 mg%. In hepatic insufficiency, its level decreases. In hepatic insufficiency, its level decreases, because we have already said that glucose buffering function of liver. When there is decreased blood glucose level, then this glycogen is converted into glucose. So if there is hepatic insufficiency or there is damage to the liver, then glycogen is not converted into liver. So blood glucose level decreases. In hepatic insufficiency of liver. Again, normal blood glucose level or normal fasting blood glucose level is 70 to 90 mg%. In the previously we have said that function of liver is the glucose buffering function of liver. When there is excessive low blood glucose level, then this excessive low blood glucose level can be raised by converting this glycogen into glucose. So glycogen is converted into glucose. But when there is hepatic insufficiency, then glycogen is not converted into glucose. So blood glucose level decreases. Now, blood and urine amino acid level are estimated to assess protein metabolism. In liver damage, blood amino acid level and urine amino acid level are increased because liver is not taking the amino acid. Again, blood and urine amino acid level are estimated to assess protein metabolism. So in the liver damage, blood amino acid level and urine amino acid level are increased. Now, lipid profile. In hepatic insufficiency, lipid profile is affected as serum cholesterol decreases, serum triglyceride decreases, total lipid decreases, ketone body increases. Again, we have in the liver function test or in the function of liver, we have studied that liver will secrete or liver will synthesize cholesterol, liver will synthesize triglyceride. If there is damage to the liver, then the cholesterol synthesis, triglyceride synthesis is decreased. So if there is decreased serum cholesterol, then you can say that there is liver insufficiency. If there is decreased triglyceride, then you can say that there is liver insufficiency. If the total lipid decreases, then you can say that there is liver insufficiency or liver damage. And for ketone body, there will be increase in the blood. There will be increased ketone body. Why ketone body will be increased? Because there is low blood glucose level. Because liver is damaged. So liver is not supplying glucose from glycogen. So blood glucose level is decreased. When there is excessive blood glucose level, then for the production of energy, energy is released from fat. And for metabolism of fat, ketone bodies is produced, and this from ketone bodies energy is produced. So when there is decreased blood glucose level, then ketone bodies are formed. When there is decreased blood glucose level, then ketone bodies are formed to supply the energy, to supply the deficient energy. So ketone bodies will be increased. Again, I am telling it. For liver profile test, if there is decreased serum cholesterol, then you can say that there is insufficiency of the liver. If there is decreased triglyceride, then you can say that there is deficient function of the liver. Total lipid is decreased, but ketone bodies is increased because there is decreased blood glucose level, and for the production of energy, ketone body will fulfill the demand of the energy. So there is decreased blood. When there is decreased blood glucose level, more ketone bodies will be produced from fat. When there is decreased blood glucose level, more ketone bodies are produced from fat to supply the sufficient energy. Now, test to assess synthetic function of liver. In the liver function or in function of liver, previously we have said that liver will synthesize plasma protein. Liver will synthesize plasma protein, mainly plasma proteins, mainly the albumin. So if there is damage to the liver, if there is damage to the liver or cirrhosis of liver, then albumin synthesis decrease. Then albumin synthesis is decreased, and albumin provides the plasma oncotic pressure. Globulin is increased, and albumin globulin ratio is reversal. In normal condition, albumin globulin ratio is 1.7:1. Again, in normal condition, albumin globulin ratio is 1.7:1. But in the liver insufficiency, albumin globulin ratio is reversed. That is albumin is 1 and globulin is 1.7. Here albumin, here we have said that albumin is decreased but globulin is increased. So albumin globulin ratio is reversed. Now serum level of liver enzyme. Liver in the biochemistry we have already studied, or you will study in detail about SGPT and SGOT. SGPT and SGOT increases in hepatic insufficiency. SGPT and SGOT increases in hepatic insufficiency. Raised level of SGPT are more specific as it is primarily present in the liver, whereas SGOT is also present in other cells like RBCs, skeletal muscles, GIT, brain, and kidney. If there is raised level of SGPT, then you can say that there is liver insufficiency, or there is damage to the liver, or there is cirrhosis of the liver. Again, I am telling it. If there is raised level of SGPT or SGOT, then you can say that there is hepatic insufficiency. Mainly the SGPT increases in cirrhosis of liver. Alkaline phosphatase. In obstructive jaundice, its level is markedly increased. If there is obstructive jaundice, then alkaline phosphatase is markedly increased. Gamma glutamyl transferase. Raised level of gamma glutamyl transferase is a sensitive index of liver damage. If there is increased level of gamma glutamyl transferase, then you can say that there is liver damage, because this gamma glutamyl transferase is the sensitive index of liver damage. Again, gamma glutamyl transferase, if this is increased, then this is the sensitive index of liver damage. Just again repeating it, serum level of liver enzyme SGPT and SGOT increases in hepatic insufficiency. If there is liver damage or cirrhosis of liver, then SGPT and SGOT increases. Alkaline phosphatase generally increase in the obstructive jaundice. Gamma glutamyl transferase is increased. When there is increase in the gamma glutamyl transferase, then you can say that there is liver damage, because this is a sensitive index of liver damage. Now blood urea. In the function of liver, we have already said that of liver is the conversion of ammonia into urea. Ammonia is a toxic substance. So this toxic substance must be removed, and this toxic substance must be converted into water soluble. If it is water soluble, then only it can be removed. Again, in the previously we have studied function of liver. Function of liver is the conversion of ammonia into urea. Ammonia is a toxic substance, and this toxic substance is converted into water soluble non-toxic, that is urea. So blood urea, liver is the main site of urea formation. Liver is the main site of urea formation from ammonia. Decreased level of blood urea and raised level of ammonia level occurs in liver insufficiency. If there is cirrhosis of liver, then there will be no urea formation. If there is damage to the liver or cirrhosis of liver, then there is no urea formation and increase ammonia level in the blood. Urine ammonia increases because ammonia is not converted into urea. Coagulation factor. We have already studied that in the function of liver, some coagulation factor like factor 2, 7, 9, 10, 5, and vitamin K. Vitamin K is needed to activate. These factors are synthesized by the liver. Some coagulation factors like 2, 5, 7, 9, 10, and vitamin K needed to activate these factors are synthesized by the liver. If there is damage to the liver, then this coagulation factor is not synthesized. If there is damage to the liver, then this coagulation factor is not synthesized. So there is prothrombin time. So there is prolonged prothrombin time. Normal is 10 to 16 seconds. If there is prolonged prothrombin time, then this indicates severe liver disease, because coagulation factor is not synthesizing the coagulation factor, because liver is not synthesizing the coagulation factor. So if there is prolonged prothrombin time, normal is 10 to 16 seconds, then this will indicate severe liver disease. Test to assess detoxifying function of liver. Like we have already said that, like colored substance is removed by the liver. Drug is detoxified by the liver. Now, test to assess hepatic cellular integrity. This can be tested by USG, ultrasonogram, computer CT scan, liver biopsy, FNAC, cholecystography, and miscellaneous tests are the serological tests to detect hepatitis virus, antigens, and antibodies. These are the functions of liver. You will study this detail again in the biochemistry. From the physiology view, we have deal with the 6 points, and in the physiology this is not important, liver function test, but you have to know the jaundice. Okay, up to this we are concluding it. If you have any questions, then you can ask me.